I got this bounding into comments article. Headline: YouTuber Vara shreds ScreenRant's claim that that the Batman Arkham video game character designs are dated and appeal to the male gaze. Now, this is kind of an old article that this is referring to, the ScreenRant one. It was just basically saying Batman's too roided out, so men want to be him, and that Harley and Poison Ivy were wearing too skimpy of clothing. My response to that article was, A, what's the big deal? B, why do you care? C, it was amazing and it worked perfectly for the tone of the story, so why give a fuck? And lastly, the last game came out, 8 years ago? Let it go. But let's see what this Vara Dark, who unfortunately I've never heard of, but just from this comment alone, I might have to take another look into. So this article is by J.B. Augustine. The Batman Arkham series is such a classic open world experience for gamers and Batman fandom. That Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, the new one, have a lot to live up to. Yeah, those two new games that are coming out, I'm not super duper excited for. I liked what I saw of Gotham Knights until recently with some of the information that came out and killed the Justice League. I don't really care. I was never a huge Suicide Squad fan up until the most recent one, which I really enjoyed. But this game doesn't seem to be following that type of tone at all, so not really that interested to me. One of the last inconsistencies or new additions players are liable to complain about is the character and costume designs, save for Deadshot suddenly being a man of color to reflect Will Smith's casting in the DCEU. Yeah, Deadshot was race swapped so that Will Smith could play him. And that's one of the few times I've been okay with it. Like, race swapping, when it's done for the right reasons or to get a big name, not really a big deal, but when they do it up front, just to be like, see, they're black now, we're woke. And when they go into it trying to race swap it. But Will Smith, it's like, Will Smith wants to be in our movie? Fuck yeah. That type of mentality, totally okay with. But they have, like, permanently in the comics changed his race as well. But, of course, there are exceptions. Not really seeing anything here. Here we go. A few fans take issue with, for example, garbs that are either unrealistically proportioned or expose too much skin, and some of them will write for pop culture news sites. One of the most prominent of those outlets is ScreenRant, and a recent article they did, in fact, raised the issues mentioned amongst others, with the costume designs of Batman, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn in the Arkham games. Poison Ivy as well. Poison Ivy was quite revealing and quite amazing. And you can see here, this was Harley Quinn's. And for the type of Harley Quinn that they were depicting, which was way more comic accurate than the films were doing, this totally made sense. Yes, she's a victim, but she's still an insane killer maniac, and her relationship with the Joker and her sexuality are her biggest character attributes. So a costume like this makes total sense. Now, if it makes sense for their character and their motivation, why is it a big deal if they're wearing skimpy clothing? Like, if you were doing an Emily Dickinson movie and she was walking around like this, that doesn't make sense, okay? So, it doesn't fit with the time, with her personality, from what we know about her. This wouldn't make sense. So, but if it does, if it works with the character, why get your panties in a twist about what a woman is choosing to wearing? Remember back in the day, 70s, 60s, when the feminist movement was really picking up? Their whole thing about being feminist and being sexually free was being able to depict themselves in this sexual manner. It was their way of breaking free of the confining clothing, confining aspects of what misogyny was back in that day. But now it's like, oh, we want to recover up because we're feminists, and that's kind of disingenuous to the women that paved the way. The writer has nice things to say about the way Batman's lore has been built up over the years in film and animation, and he remarks all of these elements are present in the Rocksteady take on Batman in the Arkham series. So he kind of balances it out with a nice compliment. And yet, despite that, and nailing the iconic silhouettes of each character, the characters themselves could be better. When they all bear the gaming industry's hallmark from the late 2000s. As it pertains to Batman himself, his proportions feel off, both overly muscular and slim. He's a superhero. Superheroes are designed to be the idealistic versions of the best of humanity, as meant to inspire people. As most men out there will attest to, we love that Batman looks like this because it inspires us to go work at the gym. We're just like, oh, I want to look like that. Maybe it's impossible, maybe his proportions feel off, but it works so well for the character and looks so great. Why is it a big deal? Exaggerated both his suit, which is closer to second skin than a combat suit. It's science fiction suit. We don't know what it's made of, or it's some sciencey answer that's not really real, like not micro mesh or something like that. But again, why is it a big deal? It worked for the character, worked for the fans. It looks amazing. I literally want to go to the gym now after seeing that. So why is it a big deal that he seems impossible? Men have looked that same shape before. Arnold in the 80s was bigger than that, so I don't get what his problem is. He adds that the long underwear, which appears in the Arkham games, was a standard part of Batman's costume for years. It feels out of place now, as more superheroes are being designed to look like someone could actually wear them. People wear outside underwear costumes like that all the time. Now, I don't get where that trend started with Batman and Superman, why that was the choice, but it works. And it's their classic look, so why is it a big deal that he's wearing it? I just don't get why he's coming from this direction. It doesn't make any sense. And it's really not that big of a deal. Even if you don't like it, ignore it or don't play it. Don't try to bash the creators and the fans for enjoying it. While more satisfied with the practical-looking suit in the Arkham Origins, that game just looked terrible. Batman's proportions are still not quite right. Yeah, so he's just being like, oh, I can't be ripped like that. It needs to look like me. It's like all these feminists who, they're the female superheroes in modern day book movies, don't have to work out, and they're just like skinny as all hell, 90-pound women beating up 300-pound dudes with ease. It's like, no, you don't have to roid out. Probably superhero, but you at least need to look the part. Like Gina Carano, she looks like she could kick some serious ass because she can. And so if you expect us to believe that these little people are beating the shit out of bigger dudes, they need to look the part. And that's the thing with Batman, is he needs to look the part. He's the peak human possible. Like, I think there was a line in the comics at one point where he's the best a human body can possibly be. So why wouldn't he be roided out and have weird proportions according to what we deem normal? Because he's better. And this guy, whatever his name is, can't remember, he's probably like, but I want to feel like a superhero. You don't have to relate to a character. You don't have to look exactly like a character to relate to them. I'm not roided out like Batman, but I still love him as a character. So this is just an idiotic take. Perhaps his look reflects too much of an idealized alpha male. Again, what's the big deal? Which is only one stumbling block in the push for body positivity and greater representation. If he was, 400 pounds of fat jumping around like that, maybe body positivity? Sure, but it wouldn't make a lick of sense. It's okay to be ripped. And if you're okay with it, it's okay to be fat. Just know that there's different pros and cons to both, and different limitations. So I just hate this whole body positivity movement and greater representation. It's like, oh, Batman's ripped. That's bad. But if he were fat, he wouldn't be able to do what he's doing. So it's just another idiotic take. The bigger hang-up in the mainstream journalism and entertainment is the male gaze, which the two are related, forms masculinity. And yeah, it's the male gaze that moors their problems with Catwoman and Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Again, it makes sense for their characters. Catwoman is a stealth expert and infiltrator, so she'd want to have skin-tight outfits that make it easy for her to sneak, not anything catching on any material from her clothes catching on anything. And when she does encounter people, she uses her sexuality as a weapon, as all three of them do. Sexuality for women is a very powerful tool, and has been, when utilized properly, can make up for a lot of physical limitations that women have had in the past or physically have. So again, don't see the problem, makes sense, and it's just retarded. be honest. The simple and obvious issues, Catwoman's design. There's nothing new in superhero comics or video games more generally. It's becoming less and less acceptable, particularly when it comes to sexualization of female video game characters. It's okay to sexualize, and it's okay to not. It just depends on the context, what the story is about, what it's going for, and what makes sense. There can be a story where there's zero sexuality and it still be a good story, and there can be one that's near entirely sexuality and that be a good story too. The fact that they're like, we gotta eliminate entirely is eliminating so many good stories that we've had in the past and so many good representations of strong female characters. Leather in the cleavage. Yeah, leather, skin tight, maneuverability, stealth. Cleavage, weaponizing sexuality. Nothing in there that doesn't make sense. Okay, he's just being a beta male for a while here. It doesn't hold up. Yes, it does. And male gaze, biggest flaw. Let's get to the actual YouTuber's comment. Yep, more just beta male shit. Beta male. Alright, here we go. YouTuber Vara disagrees with the above conclusions to point she doesn't mention ScreenRant and defends the Arkham designs. Oh, I have seen some of her videos. I just didn't know her name. No, she's great. As Dark states in her video, Catwoman has never worn a lot of armor because she uses stealth and she can't be objectified. Nothing too crazy there. She's a fictional character, not based on a real person. Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's okay to have idealized fantasy versions of characters, and these people just don't understand that. She thinks Selina looks amazing in Arkham regardless. Yeah, it looks good, and it makes sense. It shouldn't be a bad thing that women have feminine features and are sexy, Dark said. We looked on as strong, empowering women without games journalists looking for things to pick at. There's different types of strong, empowered women, and it seems like modern-day filmmakers and modern-day journalists think of Captain Marvel as the ideal strong woman, and there are a lot of other types, like Catwoman and her sexualized presentation. Dark thinks ScreenRant's disapproval of Harvey's arms and cleavage. Unlike them, she prefers the Arkham design to the Kill the Justice League ensemble. Yeah, no, the Kill the Justice League one doesn't look all that great. She considers it boring and odd looking between the hair and makeup choices. Yeah, my more problem was with her hair and makeup more than the actual costume in this new Suicide Squad, but it's still just weird. It just feels off. It feels really off to me. As for Dara, was happy with the way Batman looked in the Arkham games. She's pretty clear in her opinion those games nailed Batman by not veering far from how the Dark Knight should look. Yeah, they got it very comic accurate, incredibly comic accurate. Those 3 games, not the prequel, are fucking amazing. They're an incredible presentation, very interactive, and Gotham has a soul in it, and all those characters feel real, and it's just done so well and portrayed very well. They nailed the Dark Knight so well. And they got the Nightwing. She had a laugh at the author gushed at the skin tight out. So did that original author like it? That's a bit of a double standard. Sexualizing males is okay. Yeah, fuck off. Yeah, it is kind of funny if that was the take. Comical and a tad hypocritical. Double standard, very hypocritical. When the female outfits, you can't. It's a double standard. It's sexism at its basic form. If you bash a female being sexualized, you have to bash a male being sexualized. It's very basic. If you don't, that's called sexism. Crazy thought, but you can be sexist against men, and it's quite common, way more than you'd think. So, I 100% agree with their comments up to this point. Did no problems with the Nightwing design. It was a garbage article. Vara very concisely and effectively took down this Jacob guy's ScreenRant article. No, it's just asinine to think to approach a video game that's that old in that way with modern day sensibilities. But yeah, this is not better than the Arkham Harley Quinn. Yeah. I don't really have anything more to say on that. Vara Dark did an incredible job just roasting that guy, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's nothing to. People are just looking for things to get offended by, and that's just really disingenuous in my opinion. I don't like when people just like hunt for things to be mad about. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.